Welcome, everyone, to Mondays with Michael. So good to be with you. A happy new year to all. Blessings to you and yours as we begin this new year, December 26th. And whatever platform you're on, please introduce yourself and you can share anything you'd like to share with the group and folks who are gathered here live on our subjects of natural health and health freedom. So, warm welcome to all. This is our first show of the new year. We are entering year 6, coming up to our 6th anniversary in 2 months. And so good to be with you. So, thanks for being here. For those of you just joining us for the first time on whatever, we're on about 10 different platforms and pages now, which is great. We've got able to reach more people through different platforms because folks like to be in different places online. And if you are on our watch page or on our Zoom link, please put in any questions you have for today. And as always, feel free to say hello and share anything you'd like to share about our 2 subjects here of natural health and health freedom. This is an offering of the Gaeta Institute. Like our clinic, our motto is nature first, drugs last. So a warm welcome to, first of all, welcome, Happy New Year 2026. I am very excited for a fabulous year ahead. It's going to be a great year. And it's been a wonderful Christmas season here as well. So welcome to show number 297 for this January 5th, 2026. We are on the 11th day of the 12 days of Christmas, which ends tomorrow with the Epiphany. And the Epiphany in various Christian traditions is as the visitation of the 3 kings to the baby Jesus, sort of the world acknowledging kind of the first day. We had the 3 shepherds, after the birth. That was great. And then tomorrow is the 3 so-called wise men or kings. When I was, some of you know, I was a church organist for 10 years in New York. But many years ago, this was, this was 40 years ago when I started that job at the age of 16, which was kind of ironic. I was raised Italian Catholic in Queens, New York, which was just awesome. Sang in our world-class church choir, men's and boys choir, 80 voices, with a superb choir director who we really loved, and sang for President Reagan, Princess Grace of Monaco, the Pope John Paul II, recorded an album with Oscar Brand. It was an amazing experience. And then I, at that time, decided not to go to church anymore after, when I was 16. And 2 weeks later, I'm a sophomore in high school, became a music director and church organist with 3 choirs, going to 3 masses a week. So my mom, who was kind of devastated that her baby boy wasn't going to church anymore, was her tears turned to joy when she got to brag to all of her friends, as many of our Jewish friends in New York, we had many, would brag on their sons that they were a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. My mom was pretty ecstatic that her son was a church organist and a choir director, going to 3 masses a week. And so she got to, she came many, many times over my 7 years there to see me play. It was great. So anyway, in that parish, it was a primarily Hispanic parish in eastern Brooklyn, a town called Bushwick, where my mom grew up, a couple of blocks away, which is amazing. So she loved to come and visit because she grew up there. It was just literally a few blocks away where she was born and grew up. there in Brooklyn. And we had the Tres Reyes. I'm massacring the pronunciation. I used to speak Spanish pretty well when I was at that church, directing or co-directing two Spanish choirs. And I kind of learned Spanish in my first year there. And so it was a big deal, Tres Reyes, and it was a pageant and a kind of a parade sort of thing and special mass. And in that culture, it was beautiful. They just made a big deal out of it, which was really cool. So anyway, that's tomorrow in the Christian world. And so that's the Epiphany, which was the kind of the world acknowledging the birth of Christ, symbolized by these three kings who brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And so I thought today, in honor of the Epiphany, at the end I'll play We Three Kings. That would be kind of the day to do that. And but in the meantime, it turns out that all three of those gifts were medicinal agents. So gold, I remember early in my practice, so this was 35, somewhere between 30 and 35 years ago, I had a patient come in with rheumatoid arthritis. And he was really, poor guy was really suffering. And oh yeah, and as always, if you're on our watch page or on our Zoom chat, please put in any questions you have for today. If you're on any platform, any of the pages that we're live streaming to, we won't be able to take questions there, but please share what you have to share on natural health and health freedom. Anything you want to share with the group, an article, something you've learned, we'd love to hear from you. So, this patient came in really in a bad way. He was on steroids and the doctors, so he was on methotrexate, which is an old school rheumatoid arthritis drug. It was a repurposed drug. It's actually a chemotherapy drug used in the ultra primitive approach to autoimmune disease in conventional medicine, was just to use immunosuppressants and steroids. Steroids for pain and inflammation, immunosuppressants like chemotherapy, some forms of chemotherapy for just literally to suppress the immune response. So he was taking prednisone for decades, and they had recommended gold injections, and I hadn't heard of that until that time. This is a while ago, and he declined. But they used to use gold, literally injecting purified gold into the joints to modulate the localized inflammation in rheumatoid arthritis. They don't really do that so much anymore. And we won't be talking about gold as much as a therapeutic agent, but frankincense and myrrh are very well known herbs in the herbal field. In traditional herbal practice, these two sort of Middle Eastern herbs are used a lot, and one of them, myrrh, is also a Chinese herb, mo yao. And these have been used for a long time, thousands of years, in traditional herbal practice. So I thought, in honor of the Epiphany today, I thought it'd be kind of fun for our health topic today, we would talk about frankincense and myrrh. Why not? Two great herbs to use therapeutically. So we'll do that. And oh, it looks like I forgot to open up my piano, so I'm going to do that. Well, it's a live show, so not everything goes perfectly all the time, as many of you know. We've had, dozens of mishaps over the years here, which is cool. Kind of has that live show energy. You kind of not entirely knowing what's going to happen. Neither do I. So anyway, today we've got a lot to talk about, and we're going to do an herbal natural health section, and then we'll end certainly taking your questions along the way, and then we'll end with some holiday music. All right, very good. So if you haven't, if you're on our watch page at michaelgaeta.com/watch, or on our backup Zoom link, if you'd like to say hello, introduce yourself, how are you doing? Any updates you want to share? And on any platform you're on, whatever you have to share with the group, we'd love to hear from you. All right, so first up, we have just, enormous carnage emerging just ongoingly. This has become, the heat is rising, let's just put it that way, in the natural health and health conscious people and COVID aware community, of a growing frustration, I would say, with the continued availability of COVID injections when we now have thousands, according to Dr. McCullough at his Senate hearing, thousands of studies, 5,000 studies on various aspects of this, demonstrating harm from these COVID injections. As I've said many times here, there is no such thing as a safe mRNA injection. It's impossible to make a safe mRNA injection. It's a unsolvable problem. And anybody who understands basic immunology would acknowledge that. It's not complicated. Any cell in the body that produces a foreign protein, meaning a non-body protein, so a body cell producing a non-body protein will, it's not a chance, it's a guarantee. And it happens every day when we're exposed to stuff, or if we're coming down with a cold or a flu or something like that. It's a guarantee that that cell that produces a foreign protein that doesn't belong in the body, it's not a body protein. There's a list of body proteins, right? It's like the you have I wish I just thought of this now. Let me see if I can quickly pull this up. This was very funny. There was a scene, there was a movie with Robert De Niro called Meet the Fockers, which was very funny. This is 25 years ago. Just a wacky movie by any definition, with Ben Stiller and Dustin Hoffman, Barbra Streisand, Owen Wilson, kind of a Blythe Danner, pretty wild, just pretty, amazing cast. And there was this concept of the circle of trust that Robert De Niro is the dad, and then the wacky boyfriend is, predictably Ben Stiller. And so they had this in this idea of the circle of trust. And there's a scene in the movie where Robert De Niro draws a little picture with this. Oh yeah, here it is. I just found it. Here it is. I'll show it to you. So this is exactly how the immune system works. There's a point to the comedy here. Here's the circle of trust from Meet the Fockers. There's Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller. 25 years. This is, 26 now, years ago. And so he's Robert De Niro is kind of a traditional dad, and kind of an endearing but, somewhat rigid character. And here's Ben Stiller. And so you have Ben Stiller outside of the circle of trust. So when it comes to mRNA injections, any cell any cell that produces a protein off the list of body proteins stays in the circle of trust, right? In other words, you're okay. You're just producing approved body proteins on the list of body proteins. And there's, many tens of thousands of those. But if you're a cell that produces a foreign protein, in other words, a cell that's not on the list, then you are outside the circle of trust and will be targeted by the immune system for destruction. And this is what happens when in the when there's some type of cold or flu or some type of infection with one of the four classes of pathogens, but particularly viral issues, the body is producing foreign proteins. And those cells are immediately targeted. So every time you have a cold or flu, this is probably happening to some extent, especially, viral situations. And so mRNA injections force body cells, human body cells, and now they're thinking about giving them to animals, which is a super bad idea. And so it's in our food. The mRNA injections force the body cells to produce foreign proteins, guaranteeing, it's not an opinion, it's physiology, it's how the body works, an absolute guarantee that that cell will be destroyed. And then the other problem with that is now you're going to have antibodies to body proteins, and lots of them. And this is an autoimmune response. Autoimmune responses are natural and healthy and essential and necessary. They prevent abnormal cells from widely reproducing, or healthy cells setting up shop where they shouldn't be, like outside the organ membrane, right? You don't want a liver cell growing in your eye. And that would be a very Chinese medicine place for them to go. The liver opens into the eyes in Chinese medicine and are nourished by liver blood. But the way you prevent cells from growing where they don't belong is the autoimmune response, which is, again, normal, natural, essential, healthy thing. When there are certain conditions present, then you will, it's not an opinion, you will develop a much larger number of antibodies to your own body cells, more than would be normal, natural, and healthy. How do we know this? All of the autoimmune tests measuring for antibody levels against body proteins, all of them have an upper limit, which proves that there is very much an acceptable limit to autoantibodies. So when that limit is exceeded, then you have what we call autoimmune disease. So autoimmune response is normal, autoimmune disease is not. Where there's now this is a normal response. The autoimmune response is normal, but when there's certain causes, and here they are, when usually there's two or more of these causes at work at once. And there are six main causes of autoimmune disease. The first is what Dr. Lee described starting in the 1940s, and very much so, especially in the 1950s. But he started writing about this in the 40s based on the work of scientists around the world and his own investigation. that when there's a lot of tissue breakdown, a catabolic state, a necrotic state, a degenerative state in the body tissues, we call that necrosis, then you will develop perhaps an excess of these natural tissue antibodies, these autoantibodies. And so that is a thing where you develop an overabundance of these natural tissue antibodies in response to necrosis. You also can have an immune imbalance. That's a second cause, which is first a weakened innate immune system leading to chronic low-level infections. And then also the danger state, where the immune system is in a state of chronic stimulation. The most common cause of that are vaccine adjuvants. Vaccine adjuvants, like aluminum hydroxide, are designed to put the immune system in a state of chronic heightened responses, which is the opposite of a healthy immune system. Healthy immune system should be strong but quiet, not very active. Unless there's a threat, it eliminates the threat and goes back to a restful state. But if the immune system is chronically stimulated by vaccine adjuvants like squalene, more commonly aluminum hydroxide, then immune tolerance breaks down, meaning the immune system's ability to not attack body cells. It's the prevent friendly fire is what we call immunological tolerance. So that's a problem. And these days, most immune weakness comes from poor nutrition, right? As Bobby Kennedy has said in his, this was on the campaign trail before he joined the Trump team, which was one of the greatest things ever. He pointed out that it is very difficult for someone to die of an infection unless they're malnourished. He said, I'm pretty sure he said this in this way. He said it's hard to kill a person from an infection unless they have poor nutrition. That's pretty close paraphrase to what he said, which is true. So we have weakened immunity from vaccines, which suppress our innate immunity. We have weak immunity from malnutrition. And then most people these days have a whole lot of chronic low-level infections in one or more of the 4 classes of infection. And thanks, Bobby. Here's the Bobby mug here. There's been no time in history when people censoring free speech were the good guys. My favorite, one of my 2 favorite mugs. And drinking some chai here today. I like my chai tea. Really, chai means tea, so you don't want to say chai tea because it means tea. But anyway, then we have the accumulation of these 4 classes of pathogens, or some number of them: viral, bacterial, parasite, and fungus infection. Those are the 4 classes. And that can lead to an autoimmune condition. We have COVID injection injury, which happens in a couple of ways. What we're talking about today, the immune system targets cells that produce spike protein. That's not an option, it's a guarantee. It's just a matter of how well that person can limit the immune response to just enough and not over exaggerate, not to have an extreme immune response. And then the other part is that the spike protein, this foreign protein that the body is forced to produce, will cross-react through molecular mimicry with normal body cells. So a couple of years ago, we knew that there are 28 body cell types, at least, that were antigenically or epitopically similar to spike protein, so that it would be very easy for antibodies to spike to also target body cells, normal body proteins. That's largely what, that's what happens in a lot of things. Then we have other causes: digestive imbalance, specifically a leaky gut, where basically you're forcing the immune system to digest your dinner because undigested or partially broken down, partially digested proteins get into the bloodstream. through big openings in the gut lining, in the small intestine and large intestine. And now you have your immune system engaged where it shouldn't be in breaking down dietary proteins. That's not good. And again, those antibodies to your dinner can potentially cross-react, meaning target your own body cells. And we see this with rheumatoid arthritis and other conditions quite a bit. And then dysbiosis, which is simply an altered state in the gut, in the colon, particularly, where you have, or mostly, not only the colon, where you have too many pathogens, so gut infection, and not enough good guys. So a lack of healthy flora. That digestive imbalance is a major cause. That gut flora imbalance creates inflammation, creates immune dysregulation, it creates a lot of problems, allergic conditions, skin conditions, a lot of things. So anyway, those are the 6 causes of autoimmune disease. Perhaps not the only 6, and rarely is there only one involved. And the 3 key features of all autoimmune conditions is a loss of immunological tolerance. That's the don't shoot, avoid friendly fire situation. Chronic inflammation caused by several things. One is the malnutrition, which is often a feature, and the inflammation caused by tissue damage by those autoantibodies. And this is why conventional medicine uses drugs to suppress inflammation, because that is a feature. Again, an understandable development, but it's there. And then we have cross-reactivity, or molecular mimicry, where the body cell has proteins, surface proteins, that are similar enough to the proteins the antibody, which is a protein itself, is coded for. So those are key and common features of autoimmune disease. So anyway, the COVID injections have been a complete catastrophe in part, and this is why many of us are kind of wondering what's going on, why they're still on the market. Now, we're starting to get some positive movement there, where Jay Bhattacharya, I believe Bobby Kennedy, they're starting to talk about, at least mention the concept of these catastrophic injections becoming, being removed from the market. But, it's been almost a year and they're still available despite a mountain of, from any measure, that from an evidence perspective, there's more than enough evidence to ban immediately all mRNA, at least, injections from the market. So in today's update, I wanted to give you a couple of pieces on that. And the awesome Nick Hulsher, this brilliant young man who has just been tireless. He's just releasing stuff all the time. I'll give you the link. And the on our watch page, and then I'll also get that over to our Zoom chat. Please follow this young man. I think he's 28 or something like that, and just been, all over it, so to speak. Really publishing, but basically every day, about the COVID injection catastrophe, complete catastrophe. And Dr. McCullough just released some disturbing stats as well. on infertility, which again was a feature, not a bug. I'm very, very clear that it was designed to cause not only miscarriage, but infertility. But anyway, let's just do a little bit of update with Nick here. And here he is. He did a great interview with the awesome Del Bigtree on the High Wire. And oh boy, this is a great interview. And really recommend you watch the whole thing. Here's a short excerpt from this interview. And this was an overall vaccine comparison. The only one that really matters is comparing vaccinated kids, unvaccinated kids. We looked at the Henry Ford study in some detail. McCullough Foundation did a reanalysis of the Henry Ford health system data and discovered this massive, massive increase in cognitive autism spectrum disorders in vaccinated children. So anyway, here's Nick on the High Wire recently.
All 12 studies, every single one shows the vaccinated are far unhealthier and they have higher risks of every single disease you can think of, including autism, ADHD, tics, chronic diseases such as autoimmune diseases, particularly eczema, so skin disorders, chronic ear infections. They're just riddled with disease. When we have all of these data sets corroborate, we can start to hone in on causality. And I think the evidence is strong enough to understand that injecting 81 toxic loads into developing children is causing central nervous system injury, and it is causing chronic diseases, neurodevelopmental disorders. It's causing neuron loss. That's what is happening.
Neuron loss. Why? What's the mechanism?
So what happens is they get injected. It doesn't just stay in the arm like it's claimed. It does end up reaching the bloodstream, at least some of these toxic excipients and killed pathogens. And they do enter the central nervous system. And once they're in there, and this was confirmed in the animal studies, when they inject them with things like aluminum, it literally deposits in neurons and it causes neuronal damage or brain damage, in other words. And so that is unfortunately what appears to be happening when injecting these children with all of these loads of toxins.
There you go. So that was, he was reporting on research done at the McCullough Foundation, comparing vaccinated, unvaccinated kids, and doing basically a meta-analysis, or at least a systematic review of the literature on vaccination. So the good news is, again, many of us are kind of frustrated about, well, why are these COVID injections still available? We have now thousands of studies, and you would need, just a few of those thousands of studies to be enough evidence, like data, not opinion, but data, to get these drugs off the market. And it hasn't happened. So, there's a lot going on, speculation about that. We have Bobby Kennedy's former running mate, who she was a vice presidential running mate, Nicole Shanahan, who has a vaccine injured child. And we quoted her some months ago saying that Bobby himself, I don't think he's corruptible. I really don't think he is. I think he has too much spine and Kennedy blood for that. But he apparently, according to her, I don't know, is, being limited in what he is able to do. But there's a lot that has been happening, and that's good. But yeah, the two things, we're just some frustration about COVID shots and chemtrails, geoengineering chemtrails, which are starting to get action at a state level. They've been banned in Florida, which is amazing. So, but a federal cessation when the Democrats shut the government down for 2 months, it was kind of cool that there were very few chemtrail flights, and people were all over social media posting pictures of their clear skies without these white stripes of toxic nanoparticle. But anyway, as we said last week, there's just a lot to celebrate, a lot to be thankful for. The Maha movement, Bobby, has just done an enormous amount of good. And we're starting to hear more and more from Jay Bhattacharya taking a stand on a lot of issues that are important to us. So again, it's kind of the dream team: Marty Makary, Jay Bhattacharya, Bobby Kennedy. Pretty amazing. So the other thing, which is a major issue, which has a great outcome. This was very positive. There was a House, this was a, let's see, where did this go? Yeah, this was a congressional bill, a spending bill that put in a provision that would have given Monsanto and other polluters immunity from harm, from liability for damage done by their pesticides and herbicides. So that was a huge problem. Just like the vaccine immunity bill of 1986, signed by President Reagan, under pressure from Pfizer, at the time Wyeth, and there was a victory here. There was enough grassroots effort from citizens contacting their House of Representatives member and saying, this is not cool, and it was removed. So the appropriations bill was released without the dastardly Section 453. So this is an enormous win for the Maha movement. Really positive. I was very concerned about that. And thankfully, this would not have happened if the election had gone the other way. But thankfully, this came to pass, which is awesome. So that just happened, I believe, this morning. And there was an avalanche of constituent action over the weekend. And I think, the senators, the House of Representatives folks, the Congress people, to their credit, enough of them listened. And that's a very good thing. So that's that. Some not great news. Somehow, the USDA just approved a self-amplifying, meaning permanent activity, mRNA shot for dogs, which is insane. So this is something you need to know about. This is the Nobivac NXT by Merck. Should be avoided if you have a dog. And they're starting to do an end run with mRNA to get to the animals who don't have congressional representatives. And they're trying to get the they're just getting to the animals now, or they're starting to get mRNA into the animals. So the only other one I wanted to show you was the today, because we've got a bunch to do. This was a meta-analysis, a big one. Again, this is from Nick. This looked at 300 vaccine cancer cases across 27 countries. And this was a major journal in oncology confirming global turbocancer safety signal. And then this journal was subjected to cyber attacks to make it so people couldn't access the study. But this was a systematic review in OncoTarget. I have cited several studies published in OncoTarget over the years for our cancer course at cancercourse.com. It's an awesome course, by the way, with live. It's an interactive multi-faculty course with live interactive monthly calls. Cancercourse.com. And what do they find? 69 peer-reviewed studies, 333 cases confirmed, 27 countries, 66 case reports, 2 large epidemiological cohort studies, and 1 U.S. military cancer surveillance analysis. U.S. military to be massively commended for pulling off a remarkable, I mean, super hairy, difficult victory in saving the nation of Venezuela from communist dictatorship. 8 million people have fled that country over the roughly 25 years of communist dictatorship has destroyed the country. It used to be the 3rd most wealthy country in South America, crushed under communist tyranny, which has just ended. So pretty exciting stuff. But anyway, the military not only did that, which was incredible, and but they also published this cancer surveillance analysis. So what do they find? Half of the cancers occurred within a month of the injection. Some cancers appeared within days. Many of the cancers followed second doses or boosters. They showed abnormal behavior, rapid onset, recurrence, hyperprogression. And the main type of cancer caused by COVID shots worldwide, lymphoma. And, I, attended the funeral of a good friend of mine who died within a couple of months of her 2nd or 3rd COVID shot. Healthy lady, just grew her own food and active, happy, dead within a couple of months of her COVID shot. Was that the cause? I don't know. But it was certainly a temporal association supported by this major study. So lymphomas, the main area of cancer. And a lymphoma is a cancer of the immune system, just to be clear. Carcinomas, otherwise known as epitheliomas, are cancers of epithelial tissues, meaning the cells that they're lining the organs. And then there were others, a little less. 80% of those cases involved mRNA injections, mostly Pfizer. Now, Pfizer was also the most widely adopted, so that could have been just because there were more of them used. As I said here, over the years, since the genocide jab was released, the murder weapon was released, Moderna often would show up as a bigger problem because it had up to 1/3 more mRNA. So Moderna, which was on the verge of bankruptcy before Fauci, gave them this contract. But anyway, the Moderna, in many studies, was more dangerous because of the larger amount of it. It seems to be a dose-response relationship. The more mRNA you're exposed to, the more damage is done. Then South Korea, 8.4 million people in this study. That's enormous. Significant vaccine associations with multiple cancers in Italy, higher cancer hospitalizations in the vaccinated, 1.3 million members of the awesome U.S. military, massive increase in lymphomas right after the forced vaccination. So, and these studies proposed mechanisms, immune dysregulation, loss of tumor surveillance, persistent spike protein detected in the tumors, residual DNA. And so these this journal website was attacked with a range of cyber attacks, very sophisticated cyber attacks to try to take down the website and prevent access to this study. So there you go. So anyway, you've got the all the details here in on Nick's X page. Pretty exciting. I mean, pretty devastating, but exciting that the study happened and it got published in a major oncology journal. So this is a very big deal. So please share this study with everybody you've ever met, because, you know, as I super sad, I mentioned this months ago, I believe it was a Rasmussen study indicated in September, I believe, that 39% of the country was planning on getting a booster this season, which is, I mean, just insane. I mean, we have the roughly 20% of the country, which is, you know, completely separated from reality. But 39%, I mean, that's, you know, that's a lot. So that's why we've been talking about it here pretty regularly of the damage from these catastrophic murder weapon, genocide jab, poison death shot injections. Finally, on the update side, this is a wonderful kind of scorecard and update and such that I use a lot for staying up to date with MAHA developments. And this is MAHA Action on X. And so this is something that's been getting some traction. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So this is a very good thing. The government stopped funding the surgical mutilation of children who, you know, as many kids are, they're just going through transitions and different phases of development, but preventing or not funding so-called gender transition mutilation surgically and permanently damaging hormonal interventions. So here is Jay Bhattacharya. You know, he's fired up about this, as he should be. But the government has taken action on this to not fund this, you know, this child abuse is no longer being funded by the government, which is
A lot of parents were told that if they didn't let their kids transition, meaning hormone blocking, you know, sort of mastectomies for girls, you know, a whole bunch of like irreversible surgeries. If they didn't let that happen, that their kids were going to commit suicide. That's a form of blackmail, in my view. And it's and the reason why I say that is because there was never any scientific evidence of any value of rigor that actually demonstrated that. Doctors were telling parents that on the basis of nothing real. Or they would tell patients and families that if you, you can do hormone blocking and you can block puberty and it's irreversible. Actually, that's not true. Like, especially if you do it for a sufficiently long time, it's not reversible. And so on the basis of scientific lies, we basically put parents in a very difficult position, and especially for kids that are troubled. You know, teenage years are difficult for everybody, I think. And so you can understand there'd be kids that are like having a tough time, and especially when there's like social media, these like social contagion that's happening. Mm-hmm. And then you have the power of science supposedly telling you have to do this, let the kids transition or else they're going to kill themselves. That's how we find ourselves where we were.
That was a great excerpt. I mean, he put a lot in there. There's a lot that got into that little clip, which is at, Richard, if you click on the link right above your comment, it's right there. So there's a live link x.com/maha_action, I believe. And if you click on that link, you'll find this exact clip right away. It's right there for you. But thanks for asking. So he stuffed a lot into that clip, that all of this was ideology. This was woke, anti-human, anti-child ideology. Again, totally separated from reality. These are the same folks who were, pushing the 8, 9, 10, 12 COVID boosters and are bringing masks back and all of this, and think that you can change your gender and all of this nonsense. That gender is subjective and all this crazy stuff. This is ideology, as Jay is pointing out, not science, not evidence, not data, not reality. That's why I said, this segment of the population is completely separated from reality. As Charlie Kirk said very eloquently, he said, if a 25-year-old thinks they're the wrong gender and they were born in the wrong body, they have a mental illness, which is gender dysphoria. It's been diagnosed for over a century. But if an 8-year-old thinks that, their mother has a mental illness, which is really accurate. I've seen this firsthand, and just appalled at what parents are doing to these kids. I mean, it's child abuse of an extreme form, like a very extreme form of child abuse, telling them they were born in the wrong body, and however they feel is who they are. And, I mean, teenagers' feelings are all over the place. I mean, that's normal. But thankfully, all of this trans cult nonsense is fading. And I'm glad he pointed out, it's a social contagion. It's kids see other kids doing stuff and they want to do that too. That's called social contagion. And that's a real thing, because the data has just come out in the last month or two that the incidence of this trans hysteria nonsense cult has gone down by 50% in the past year. And so that that tells you pretty clearly it's a social contagion. It's a social peer pressure, monkey see, monkey do, kind of, oh, it's the trendy thing. And, certainly true with parents, especially mothers, and their weak husbands. Certainly true among parents. It becomes like a trendy, hip, oh, a social credit, social prestige stat. It's a status thing for a certain type of person, that, oh, my kid is trans, my kid is non-binary, my kid is queer. It's coming from the parents, in addition to some peer thing as well. But it's become social status for a certain type of person. And the same people who are condemning the liberation of Venezuela and still wearing masks alone in their car or outside, 5 years later. Anyway, it's the same crew, basically. And, this is thankfully, coming to an end, or at least being curtailed. And where I live in Camirado, which is modeling itself legislatively after California, which is a catastrophically failed state, they've ended that here in the health systems here, at least one of the big health systems. So that's good. It's the curtailment of child abuse, which is a good thing. We have to protect children in some cases from their parents. But anyway, so there it is. And also, great news about all the good stuff that's happening with the reduction in, chemicals and things. We went through a lot of this previously, but I wanted to just give you a final update from the TV personality and now head of CMS, Medicare, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who is a very well regarded cardiothoracic surgeon, who is full maha, good to his credit. And I appreciate him. I lived in New York for my first 40 years, saw him become very popular, and some of his shows were kind of campy, cheesy, a little Jerry Springer like, but I appreciated his willingness to talk about controversial stuff, and his uh, network. He took a fair amount of heat for saying just quoting science, quoting research on certain subjects, or just letting people with different views on the show. He had a huge show. And but anyway, let's listen. This will be our last clip for today with our health updates.
They did lie to you, Jason, and one of the reasons Secretary Kennedy is so passionate about this is because the food pyramid originally was a advertising vehicle by
he's so New York. Like I just as soon as I hear that accent, I just feel right at home.
cereal companies. The food agenda for Kennedy is so passionate about this is because the food pyramid originally was a advertising vehicle by cereal companies. The food agenda for this year, and you see it up there, the MAHA movement, again, make America healthy again by actually starting with the food we put in our body, making sure we exercise that body, we get to sleep more effectively for doing those things, by the way, deal holistically with the issues we face in America. Moms in this country are crying for help. It is so much harder for them to raise healthy children than it was for their parents to raise them, and they know it. And they spoke loudly in 2024. They're going to speak in the midterms, and Secretary Kennedy will not be daunted, and he's got the president's full support to make sure he push this agenda. So you're going to see dietary guidelines coming up, more clear definition of what ultra-processed foods mean, and without question, we have issues even in the rural health transformation bill we talked about earlier, that $50 billion fund that we put out. In there, we're asking states to commit to waivers on the food we give to folks on SNAP to make sure it's healthy. A food pyramid originally was a...
There it is. This is the food aspect of the agenda. I think we're going to see a lot happen on the vaccine side. Again, hepatitis B has been removed from the infant schedule, and pretty amazing. So we have on the food side, again, there's a lot of other things that need attention after, decades of corruption in the government related to all things health and food and pharma. They are really, Bobby is really unwinding decades of corruption at a very high speed. And again, we all want COVID shots and chemtrails to be gone yesterday, but, other than that, I mean, if you look at what has been accomplished, which we went over last week, it's pretty incredible. I mean, food, pharma, insurance, none of these folks are happy, and that's good, because that means that's good for the people. So the generally regarded as safe or GRAS reform, they were handing out GRAS exemptions like candy, and that's changing to limit the number of chemicals in foods. New dietary guidelines emphasizing healthy fats and proteins and fruits and vegetables over carbohydrates and grains. Defining ultra-processed foods. Front of pack labeling so that people will see food information right on the front of the package. They don't have to turn it over, so that they see it on display before they even pick it up. Chemical review overhaul, removing petroleum-based food dyes, that's well underway. Well, Richard, same thing. If you click on that same link, Maha Action, you'll go right to it. And there's infant formula safety, and you'll see this is the Stork Speed initiative that Bobby came up with, Operation Stork Speed, which is not a great reference to Warp Speed, which was the fast tracking of COVID injections. But And the other positive thing, I don't know if you've noticed, but the president is no longer, and this is a difficult one. I'm sure it was for him. He's never one to admit when he's wrong, but he's at least stopped promoting COVID shots, which were, approved on his watch. He's no longer like touting that as a thing. So that's very positive. So I'm assuming, Bobby's going to be looking at soy protein, which is a catastrophic thing to put into infant formula, and 94% of that is GMO. So getting good ingredients in, bad ingredients out of infant formula, and then a nutrition regulatory science program. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I know that they're putting nutrition education into medical school training, which is pretty awesome. And also, which is already happening, upgrading the quality of food in the military and in publicly funded schools, which is really pretty exciting. So, we got Dr. Mark Rhodes here in the house. Hey there, Mark. Great to see you. And okay, so that's that. All right, so with that, wanted to get into our health topic for today. We've done our MAHA and natural health update, and there's lots more. Those 2 pages I gave you, there's a lot more good stuff happening, and that's good. We've got the dream team, Bobby and Marty Makari and Jay Bhattacharya. Especially Jay. I mean, he was one of the highly censored co-authors of the Great Barrington Declaration, which were scientists and epidemiologists and physicians who were critical, based on actual reality, of the COVID lockdowns and other measures. So anyway, to have him be, head of NIH is like an absolute dream. It's just incredible. So just fabulous. So please, scroll through that Maha Action on X and Nick Holscher on X. There's about a dozen pages I pay attention to, and that's 2 of them. So with that, we're going to, in honor of the Epiphany, the 3 kings visiting the baby Jesus, celebrated throughout Christendom. Tomorrow, the Epiphany. This is wanted to talk about 2 of the 3 gifts reported in the birth story there, the Christmas story, and the first is talking about the myrrh and frankincense. So this will be a quick review because we've got some full text articles, and I'll give you the links to all these things so you can do a deeper dive yourself. And but I wanted to just do a little bit on these 2 herbs. And if folks are on our watch page, if you could let us know, just say hello at michaelgaeta.com/watch. That would be great. And also, we're going to get into some of the medicinal uses of these herbs. So the first one we're going to look at is myrrh. In Chinese medicine, this is mo yao, M-O-Y-A-O. And just to save time, because there's thousands of studies on these herbs, and I'm going to be focusing on review articles which summarize literature from several papers or studies. So, so that's what we're going to focus on. So myrrh is the first herb I want to look at. And I'm going to put this up here. Oh, Amy. Hi, Amy. One of our functional medicine graduates here at the school, functional medicine nurse up in Nebraska. Are the European baby formulas any better than the USA brands? I'm not actually sure. I would assume so. Just in general, non-specific terms, as Bobby pointed out, even from his presidential campaign, and just recently, again, that there are 10,000 chemicals allowed in American foods and only 400 in European foods. So that's a thing. So just on the averages, it's likely that any food of any kind produced anywhere in Europe is going to be better, safer, cleaner, less chemicalized than any food of any kind produced, especially like a packaged food produced in the US. So that's just a general comment. I haven't looked at specific European products, but I would expect them to be better for the moment because of that, just in general. All right, so this was published in Schmeideberg's Archives of Pharmacology. I'm sure you're all familiar with this journal and have a long-standing subscription to Schmeideberg's Archives of Pharmacology. So I'm sure you've seen this one before in your mailbox arriving a couple of years ago. So this is a phytochemical and pharmacological update. This is a review article, full text. And here is the link to this guy. And I'll also get this over on our watch page. Commiphora myrrh, that's the botanical name. You can use the common name myrrh, but if you're not sure, always go with the botanical name, which is usually going to be very specific to that herb. We see a lot of confusion with things like wormwood. There are several wormwoods. I had a patient contact me and say, oh, actually, it wasn't even a patient. It was somebody who just had questions. Oh, I've got a bottle of wormwood here. What do I do with it? I'm like, well, which wormwood is that? Anyway, turns out it was actually Chinese wormwood. So, Commiphora myrrh. This is a Middle Eastern herb, but also a Chinese herb. It has been used traditionally, so topically, as well as internally, for treating wounds, mouth ulcers, aches, fractures, stomach disorders, microbial infections, and inflammatory diseases. So those are the indications or uses for this herb. And if we look at the actions or functions of this herb, it's an antiseptic. Astringent means it helps to retain or reduce things leaking and tightens up loose tissues. Anthelmintic means it kills worms. It's a carminative, which means it reduces digestive gas. And a menagogue, and I actually forgot, I haven't used that term in a while. Let me get the update on that, or the definition rather, of that. Oh, right. It stimulates blood flow in the pelvic area and uterus. So it's a pelvic blood flow stimulant. Yes, now I remember. Well, that's straight out of Chinese medicine. This is a blood-moving herb in Chinese medicine. Mo Yao is a very significantly blood-moving herb. And an expectorant, meaning it helps the lungs to clear phlegm. Research has shown that it exerts various biological activities, anti-inflammatory, Antioxidant is meaningless. That just means cytoprotective. It helps the cells protect themselves from damage. Antimicrobial, neuroprotective, anti-diabetic, anti-cancer, analgesic, meaning reduce pain, anti-parasitic, and was able to treat respiratory infections, including, but not limited to, COVID, which is the syndrome associated with the North Carolina Wuhan bioweapon. So that's a quick overview from that. Here is the here's some of the details on that, but you can see you'll see this is a full text study that you can look at. So the other thing wanted to share with you. This was, where'd it go? Here it is. Yeah. So here is the link of this other paper on myrrh, and also put this over on our watch page for folks there. And this paper came out some time ago. This is an Egyptian paper that came out of Alexandria University some years ago. So this is older research, but still good because, you say, oh, it's 23 years old, 24 years old, but the herb has been around for thousands of years. So, that's not that long. So anyway, this was called Components, Therapeutic Value, and Uses of Myrrh. So again, this is an aggregation of the literature on this herb. I want to skip down to this section here called Medicinal Actions and Uses. Commiphora molmol is the most important species of myrrh, has been used as an effective antimicrobial agent. And that's why it was so highly valued and why it was one of the gifts of the Magi, or the three kings, to baby Jesus. It is also part of the stealth pathogen protocol, as Dr. Rhodes is talking about. And is one of the most effective herbal medicines in the world for sore throats, canker sores, and gingivitis, which is basically gum inflammation. And that's why it's in the MediHerb, and I'll show you this in a moment, why it's in the one of the best topical treatment, like the best by far, easily, of any topical throat thing I've ever seen. It's astoundingly effective. Patients love this stuff. And I'll give you the link to it. But the herbal throat spray phytosynergist meaning it's an herbal blend in a liquid form of several herbs together. And this formula is just superb. And I'll give this to you here. Let me see if, yeah, oh, no, here it is. Okay, we've got it. And I'll get this into the chat for you. And wow, this is so effective. And Carrie Bone wrote this formula. It's a brilliant formula, really well designed. Herbal throat spray phytosynergist. If you look at what's in it, there it is so you have marshmallow, very soothing, sage, very well used internally for sweating, used topically for inflammation. Calendula, very soothing, topical. Echinacea, wonderful for resolving inflammation, improving immune response. And there it is. There's the myrrh, Commiphora molmol, gum resin, and it's one of the stars of the show here in this formula. Very effective for any type of throat inflammation, sore throat, anything throat. I always, when I'm traveling to speak, I always have a bottle or two with me, and it's great, if I'm teaching an 8-hour seminar or a 12-hour seminar or a 16-hour seminar, or teaching our annual practitioner retreat, which is coming up in August 26th to 30th this year, I always have this around if I'm speaking for a long time because it really works. I mean, it's very reliable. Patients love this stuff. And they never want to be without it in case somebody in the house gets a sore throat. It just works great. I typically take 4 to 5 sprays every 30 to 60 minutes as needed for sore throat or hoarseness, anything throat. It's just great. And also can be used as a dental formula for, oh, I forgot to turn the tree on. No, let's get the tree on. Bentley wanted to say Happy New Year as well. So this is a very reliable topical formula for all things throat. Also, here in internal use is the completely awesome other formula, which is Myrrh Forte, which is just wonderful formula for any type of, oh, is that not in the store? That's strange. Okay, well, anyway, see, it's not showing up in our store for some reason. Let me check one other spot and keep you updated on that. But anyway, this is this other paper, which again is a review article, a literature review of the various uses of myrrh. So boils, acne, arthritis, antiseptic, uterine stimulant. So this is not to be used during pregnancy, for sure. Mouth ulcers, ulceration in the mouth, canker sores, fever blisters, anything like that. Lowers blood sugar, any type of ulceration anywhere. Treats the hair and scalp, and is a very strongly blood-moving herb in Chinese medicine. So it's used for swelling, pain, injury. Also great for lowering triglycerides, stomach inflammation, indigestion. It's just pretty fabulous. So it does a lot of good things. Also appears to, don't use this a lot for granulomas, but anyway, a very wide range of actions therapeutically. So pretty fabulous, but especially frequently used as an antiseptic and for ulceration, infection, parasites, all that sort of stuff. So that's that. And let's see. Chickenpox, sure, Amy, I would use it at least topically. It's not a famous like antiviral, but you can use a Viranon, calcium lactate, Cataplex F for that. But certainly topically, it can be very helpful, I would say. Yeah. Oh, the link is right there. I'll put it in again for you. So you've got it in there twice to that particular paper. And let's see, maybe we'll do one more. I've got a bunch, but I think just in the interest of time, we'll do one more. Not that one. Yeah, maybe that's enough. That's good. So we'll pause there on the myrrh. I think that's a good intro, at least to myrrh. And then I want to talk about the other gift of the Magi, which was frankincense, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Good thing to buy some gold and not necessarily eat it, but a good thing to have some gold around Good thing to convert some dollars into metals these days. It's basically doubled in value in a fairly short period of time. Doesn't appear to be slowing down as more and more countries build up their gold reserves. There's an increased demand and therefore increased value. But anyway, that's for another day. So for today, I want to talk about the third gift of the Magi, which is frankincense. Now, frankincense isn't an herb. It's a category of herbs. There's 20 herbs that are called frankincense. So it's more like a group. It's like saying pickup truck, right? There's a bunch of different pickup trucks, right? You have an F-150, you have a Tundra, Tacoma, Ram, all of this. But pickup truck is sort of a category. And then within that category, there are different pickup trucks. When you say frankincense, you're saying the same thing. It's a group, it's a category of herbs. Now, the most famous of these of the group called frankincense is Boswellia serrata, and so this is the gum resin of the Boswellia plant, or the tree, the resin of this tree. And this has been used, again, for thousands of years in Middle Eastern medicine. Now, both frankincense and myrrh were used in ritual as well. So they were sort of used in religious ceremony and ritual, were used even just basically as incense. So they were used in a variety of ways. And I think it's partly that reason that it was used in a broad range of ways, that it was, one of the gifts to the baby Jesus by the three wise men on the Epiphany, which is tomorrow. And so this is a really cool herb. And just going to, again, just like myrrh, just going to do kind of an intro to frankincense, an intro to Boswellia serrata. The reason this is the main one is that it's the most widely used form of frankincense. It's the most famous, the most researched, the most clinically used frankincense there is. Again, there's 19 other ones that are called frankincense, but this is the famous one, the most widely used. Boswellia serrata. So this was published in Phytomedicine. I quote this journal a lot. Get this over on the watch page there. Phytomedicine, this came out in 2010. Modulation of the immune system by Boswellia serrata extracts and boswellic acids. Boswellic acids are absorbed better when taken with fat. So I always recommend patients take this herb with food, or at least with their fish oil or whatever other fatty formula that they might be taking. Sesame oil, blackcurrant seed oil, chlorophyll complex, wheat germ oil, whatever, tuna oil, whatever oil, you'll get a much better absorption of the boswellic acids if you take them at the same time. So that's pretty cool. So what did they find in this paper on immune modulation? They suggest in reducing antibody titers, so that potentially could have some implications in autoimmune disease, and also modulates cytokine production. So having anti-inflammatory effect there, affecting the complement system, which are a class of 50 proteins, mostly made in the liver, that assist or complement innate and acquired or adaptive immune response. So there's that. Then this other paper, this is 2012. This came out a couple of years later. Get this over on the watch page. And okay, so that was the first one. Here it is. This was published in Clinical Pharmacokinetics in 2012. And this is the most, they emphasize here, the most famous use of Boswellia serrata, which is inflammation. It's a superb anti-inflammatory or inflammation modulating herb. I don't really like the term anti when it comes to herbs, because herbs support more than they oppose. So they modulate, they adjust, but using the term anti-inflammatory, which is used constantly in relation to this herb, is not great, because herbs modulate, adjust, optimize inflammation. They don't, like a pharmaceutical drug, force something to happen. They don't overdo things either. So they point out this is a traditional Ayurvedic medicine. And they also mention the other Boswellia species, right? That's that, the other 19 that are called frankincense. Now, they point out two of my personal main uses for this herb, which is gut inflammation and joint inflammation. That's where I use this herb the most. So Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, other inflammatory bowel disease, rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, so joint inflammation. And then there also is pretty robust evidence on asthma, although it's not a primary formula in my own practice for that, but joint and gut, and also can be used topically, as Dr. Rhodes is pointing out. There are topical preparations as well. So there are a range of actions from this herb, modulating leukotriene-mediated inflammation. So that's one thing. And that's, one mechanism of action. But this herb is really helpful for really any inflammatory situation, but especially any gut so duodenitis, colitis, gastritis even, but most especially for colon inflammation and joint inflammation. So there's that. And also related to, and I did a video on this, you'll find this on our video page. I did a whole, I don't know, I spent a long time on this. One study is on myocarditis, and did a bunch of on this one herb, surprisingly being incredibly helpful in myocarditis. So I wanted to give you, and this is also a NRF2 herb, meaning cytoprotective, which is pretty exciting. So I did want to mention this because this has direct relevance to the COVID shots, which cause massive amounts of cardiac inflammation, as well as blood clots, organ damage, heart failure, heart attacks, cancers, all of that, causes basically potentially anything. But this was the study, and you'll find this on our video page, on myocarditis, autoimmune myocarditis, which is COVID shot myocarditis, is autoimmune. This study came out of Italy. That makes it better. And it showed that this herb is quite helpful in this experimental model, and they came up with a mechanism of action of modulating the cytoprotective kind of master switch of cellular defenses, the nuclear erythroid factor 2 pathway, which is a cell nucleus transcription factor, which activates cellular defenses. So that would mean this herb is very relevant for today's world, and be very relevant for anybody who has had the murder weapon or the poison death shot. And let's see, I'm going to give you a link to our video library, which is just packed, stuffed, replete with great info for you. And let me just make sure it's there. I last time I checked it was there, but let's just make sure. Here's our video library, and you've got videos here from me on health and practice stuff for practitioners, vaccines, COVID, piano music, and more. Let me just see where this went, which should be in here. Just want to make sure it's in here. Oh, I've got some great stuff here. Wow, this is awesome. Yeah, I don't know where it went. I thought it was here, but okay, looks like I've got to get it onto this page. You've got other great things to look at here, some Christmas music and things. Yeah, I'm not finding that particular video. Yeah, I'll have to go find that. Oh, and also this page also has when I've been on other shows, Robert Scott Bell, Peter McCullough, Informed Life, CHD TV, Matthew Dark, Vaccine Control Group, Nancy Tarlow, Pat Timpone, the late great Patrick Timpone, Awake to Oneness, Forbidden Doctor, Dan Young, Mike Adams, Vaccine Choice Canada, Broken Truth, Fame, all kinds of places that I've been speaking over the years. Not all of them, but at least some of them are here that you can check out. So that's that. And I will see if I can quickly locate the that video that we did on, let me just see here, because it's a good video. It's a good video. So let me see if I can find this video all on this one study on myocarditis and this herb, Boswellia serrata. I know it, it should be in here somewhere, but I'll see if I can find it quickly. I'll give it to you because it'd be a good one to share because there's so much myocarditis from the genocide jab. Okay. Well, all right. It's somewhere. I'll have to find it, and when I find it, I can pass it along to you. All right. Anyway, moving on. This is a wonderful formula. I use it a lot in practice for a lot of things, and would recommend you take advantage of this formula as well. The formula that I use that has Boswellia in it is called Boswellia complex, and I'll give you a link to that so you can learn more about it. And also get this over on our watch page. Okay, so let's just look at this formula, and it's not just Boswellia, so that it's paired up. Very well designed formula. One of Kerry Bone's early formulas. It's been around for a while, and for good reason. Very popular. A lot of practitioners, especially chiropractors who are treating folks with musculoskeletal pain, really rely heavily on this formula because it's so effective. And I'll tell you a story about this herb as well. So here it is, and it's paired. There's the boswellia, kind of the star of the show. Per tablet, almost 2 grams of herb, which gets you, even at 1 tablet, into a mellow therapeutic range. Then we've got celery seed extract, 1 gram of celery seed per tablet. Now, I typically use 3 to 6 tablets per day. So that'll deliver almost 6 grams of boswellia, which is very therapeutic range, at even 3. At 6 a day, which is a big dose, you're getting about 11 grams of boswellia, frankincense. Ginger, shengjiang in Chinese medicine, there's a little bit of that, 300 mgs of ginger. So not a massive quantity per tablet, but again, at 3 to 6 tablets, which is a standard dose, you're going to get into a good range there. Turmeric, this is not the turmeric forte, the CGM fenugreek fiber complex turmeric, but a good ethanol extracted turmeric, 2 grams per tablet. By the way, average daily intake in the nation of India, which has the largest population of any country on earth. The Indian population, on average, in general, overall, consumes about 2 grams of turmeric per day in the diet, like curry, for example. This is what gives curry its kind of characteristic color. And that is theorized as why a lot of people in India smoke cigarettes, and they're probably cleaner cigarettes than the Marlboro or whatever we have here in the US. There's probably less bad stuff in their cigarettes in India, maybe. I'm not really sure. It's not my area of expertise. But they have much less lung cancer per capita, even though a lot of the population smokes. We've gotten our smoking in adults in the US down to about 20%, down from 60% in the 1950s, where everybody smoked. Now, and it was, and now it's been massively curtailed. So there's been 2 studies on this, theorizing that it's the turmeric, the daily turmeric consumption in India, that accounts for more smoking, but less lung cancer. So anyway, at a typical therapeutic dose of 3 to 6 a day, you're getting, 6 to 12 grams of turmeric in the boswellia complex, which is pretty good. Now, I'll often pair this with the ultimate turmeric, which is the CGM, curcumin galactomanosides. I think that's the abbreviation. Fenugreek complex turmeric. I'll usually or often will combine, say, 3 boswellia complex with 3 turmeric forte, which is an incredible combination. But anyway, this is the best I've found product that contains this great herb, frankincense, which again is an Ayurvedic herb. So that's that. And let's see if there's anything else I wanted to. Yeah, I think that might be good. Let me just do a quick. Oh yes, here it is. This is the other study I wanted to do today, and I'll give this to you in the chat. Here it is. There it is in the chat, and then here it is on our watch page. And this is a good one. This is from 2007. This was published in Pharmacognosy Reviews. And this is entitled Phytochemical Profile of Boswellia serrata, a review. So you get an idea here of why these Magi King guys gave the baby Jesus, these highly valued, highly prized gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. This herb, like myrrh, is very highly valued in that culture at that time. A very major herb in Middle Eastern medicine, which has been, used quite a bit in Western culture now for many years. So this paper, it's a review article. I like those because it summarizes the literature for you, saves you time. So this herb, frankincense, Boswellia serrata, anti-inflammatory, so modulating inflammation, helping with arthritis, diarrhea, triglycerides, because cholesterol is irrelevant, asthma, cancer, infection, and pain relief. In addition, it has hepatoprotective, meaning it protects the liver, and immunomodulatory activity as well. The drug, they call it a drug, which they should know better. This came out of India, so they should know better than to call it a drug. But whatever, we'll give them a pass on that. This drug has been established effective in Crohn's disease, autoimmune encephalitis, so think vaccine injury, and as an alternative to steroids, at least in treating edema, peritumoral edema. It causes calming, so sedation, and these affect the enzyme 5-lipoxygenase, which is related to the leukotriene-mediated inflammation. It also affects the elastase enzyme, helping with asthma and allergy. So pretty fabulous. Pretty fabulous herb. I think that was about I think just in the interest of time, that's probably a good intro to Boswellia serrata, frankincense herb. So a couple of things, and then I'm going to play the piano for you and play We Three Kings, which is, of course, the iconic Christmas song, which is most relevant for tomorrow, the Epiphany. And we have a special guest with us here, Dr. Mark Rose, is one of our beloved faculty members, very popular faculty member here. And I'm just going to, because I'm going to put Mark on the spot here and ask him to just tell us about his course that is here at the Gaeta Institute that we wanted to give you all a discount on for attending the show. And then I'll answer questions as well. But Dr. Rhodes is a wonderful scientist and practitioner, clinician, one of the world's top experts on endocrine or hormonal issues. And we are delighted he's with us here today. And Mark, if you want to just say a few words.
Oh, sure. I'm happy to be on your faculty. That's an honor. And we did put a course together, theoretically an 8-week course. I got hit with some virus between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I was sick for a month. It might have been COVID, who knows? But that turned it into a 10-week course. Anyway, we cover the basics of what a practitioner should know and primarily weren't taught. And well, both you and me, Michael, it's what we learn after school.
Yes.
After those degrees, the degrees might open a few doors, but it's what we learned post degree time and the way we research things and put pieces together. So I counted it a privilege to, I think we had about 50 people in there, practitioners.
We did. It was a very popular course.
And then a few people find it, since it was live, people find it and can do it at their own pace. And that's what you were talking about. It's there for anybody to sign up, and you'll get it at the pace you want it.
Yes.
And seriously, if you have a significant question, contact me. If you're the consumer of the course, contact me if you need some additional info.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Yeah, this is a wonderful course. The folks who took it love it, and they just enjoyed Mark has a very interactive style of teaching, which I really like and try to and aspire to myself. And this was a very enjoyable course to take, and the recorded course has just been very helpful for folks who get a kind of a feel for that interactive flavor. So thank you, Mark. Anything else you want to share with us today?
Well, they have to put up with my quirky sense of humor. It's just built into the recordings.
That's right.
No,
Yes, a lot of humor.
no, it's crazy what wave of patients come your way, and all of mine lately have been high androgens, and they're all mysteries. So you have to do a lot of detective work
Yeah,
to figure these
that's right.
things out.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, thank you, Mark. Thanks for being with us today and for putting together a great course. And blessings to you and Marty there, and appreciate our ongoing connection, and a happy new year to you. Excellent. So please take advantage of a natural, functional approach to hormone health from Dr. Mark Rhodes, and you'll be glad you did. We've had a 100% happiness. We track these things here at the school, like how was the course for you? And everybody loves this course. I mean, 100%. And you get a discount with your discount code MWM10, Mondays with Michael 10, for attending the podcast. That's a little gift from us to you for attending the show. And right now, I'm just gonna wrap up today with questions. Oh, here's somehow he always knows when we're getting close to the end, because he knows that means he gets a walk right after the show. But here's Bentley wanting to say Happy New Year. But I wanted to check on questions. I think we had a question or two here. Oh, thanks for the article there from Janice Schmidt, who was on this show a few times over the years. Yep. And there's Mark. Thank you. Mark is a star baseball player and coach, and so he's got some insights there on topical use of that. Can you use this, David? Hi, David. It's Dr. Sandler asking about, can you use these agents for oral herpes? Uh, Absolutely, for sure. It wouldn't be the only thing I would use. How to protect the brain, prevent these viruses from vectoring into neurons, causing neuroinflammation. Yeah, that's a great point, David. We've got to support um, the vascular barrier, the blood-brain barrier, with things like Cyruta and Gotacola complex. And then we have the neuroprotective agents, like we mentioned here today, with myrrh, but also with formulas like Herbal Vital is very neuroprotective, Neuroplex, um, Neurotrophin, Great Minds with lithium. These are all, and then you'll find that on our store page, all of these formulas. But those are some very neuroprotective formulas. Tuna oil, optimizing the omega-3 index, all of that is located on our store page, which is here, michaelgaeta.com/store. But here you'll find, Herbal Vital, Neuroplex, Neurotrophin, tuna oil. And right at the top here, you'll see one of my favorite brain formulas for cognition, memory, Alzheimer's prevention is Great Minds mushrooms with lithium. The one with lithium has 5 milligrams of lithium orotate. Very good formula. And Danshen, major herb for modulating inflammation, improving circulation and cognition. So anxiety, sleep, cognition. We have a whole course on this herb, Chinese sage, ancient herb for modern times. We're really proud about. It's a very good thing. You can order that herb there. And then for neuroinflammation, which is what you're mentioning there, make sure you are checking the hair analysis, which you'll find here on this page, and see if there's heavy metals like aluminum, like mercury, for example, that are causing neurological inflammation. So make sure you do that hair analysis once a year. That's really important. And then you want to also check your omega-3 index plus. Really important. We have a whole course on omega-3 in brain health, as well as athletic performance, taught by two sports nutritionists. And so please make sure you got that omega-3 index at least 8%, preferably 9 to 12%. But everybody should check their omega-3 index once a year at least. That's a very important test to do. And then we know, talked about here lots of times, the relationship of the gut microbiome to the brain. So the gut-brain connection, one aspect of that is the gut microbiome. You want to check that once a year. And you get a 20% discount on that test right here for your stool test to check your microbiome. So really important. So those are some things, David, that I use in practice that perhaps you find helpful. And yes, Amy's pointing out myrrh shouldn't be taken for more than a week. I typically limit it to 5 days. Absolute upper limit is 9 days, but I'll typically take a break after 5 days and take a 9-day break and then start up again. So it's a 2-week cycle for myrrh. Boswellia can be taken indefinitely. No pulsing or taking breaks necessary. I have patients with ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, taking the herb for months. And also the Boswellia complex, the best thing I've seen for patients with fibromyalgia. It's incredible. Oftentimes within a few days, their fibromyalgia has massively improved, taking 3 to 6 a day of the Boswellia complex, which is just a great formula. Really, really effective formula, which you'll find in our store. And here's a direct link as well. What a great formula. Just superb for fibromyalgia and a lot of other things. So yeah. Good question. And okay, looks like that is all of the questions. Just going to give a glance on our watch page. Is Bosley named after Boswellia? I don't think so. Very funny, Judy. Thank you. But yeah, Boswellia. I'm kind of curious about that now, what the etymology is. Let me see if we can find something out about that. I'm kind of curious. I'm very curious in general about the historical origins of words. And I'm kind of curious about that. Let me see if there is anything we can learn about that. Oh, okay. Here it is. Ah, there you go. Okay, here is your answer, or an answer to a question you didn't actually ask, but stimulated a question. So here you go. There's Brave AI answer to that question of where did the word come from? The word Boswellia come from? And it came from the Scottish guy from the 1700s. Is named after him, James Boswell. He got a whole genus or group of herbs named after him. This Scottish botanist from the 1700s. The term Boswellia refers to a group of trees in the family Bursuraceae, known for producing frankincense resin. There's about 20 trees in that group that produce the quote frankincense resin. So there's your answer. Great. There you go. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Let's see. Other things, please, if you are a practitioner, please save the date, and you can, and it's available for registration now. Our annual intensive and retreat, our 11th annual here in Colorado. It's always awesome. Like every time, it's every one of people's favorite weeks of the year. The practitioners who attend this every year, they just love it. Everybody loves it who comes to this event. And the 5-day retreat here in Colorado for practitioners and staff. And coming up this summer here in Colorado, August 26th to 30th. And it's at a gorgeous organic farm, regenerative beef ranch, and conference center in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So we're having our retreat again on this organic farm, eating some of the best food you'll ever eat. It's just amazing. Here's a couple of years ago, pre-beard, as you can see. So this is 2023. And we've got a great group. That's, every year we just have a great time. And this year will be no different. So please join us for that. And if you have not yet learned about the home care medical device, best in class by far, is the Beamer PEMF device. This is the best in class by far for optimizing microcirculation. You'll find that all those details here on our PEMF education page, which I'll put in here as well. And there's a massive sale that ends today, actually, on the horse set. So I wanted to, if you have a horse or know anyone who has a horse, this would be a very good time to save over $1,000. I think it's $1,200 on this device, which is the best horse care device in the world. So you'll see on this page all the details on that. We have weekly classes, research, compilation of 64 studies, an email course, education site, all free. And then if you want to take advantage of the massive sale on the horse set, just go to this purchase page, purchase part of the page, contact my colleague, Cynthia. She's amazing. And she'll walk you through their process and make sure you get the massive discount on the horse set. Human set's very reasonable. It costs like a fifth of what other systems cost that have not even a single study substantiating its use. This one has 64, which you can read. It's all there for you for free. Please take advantage of that. And then, in general, if you have not recently been to our homepage, that's where you can find our courses. We have now, it's pretty happy about this. We've got in our course page, michaelgaeta.com/course, we are now up to 63 online courses with 25 faculty, including the awesome Dr. Mark Rhodes, who is here today. And so take advantage of our courses. They're great. They're very, just fabulous, very beneficial for yourself, your patients, your family. And then scooch over to our clinic and then patients. If you haven't had a consult in the last year, that would be a good idea. And make sure we get your updated labs, do a lab review, protocol review, diet, lifestyle, supplementation, herbal medicine, lab testing, all the good stuff. That should be, I recommend doing that at least once a year. And more often, if you've got something to work on, or if you know somebody who's open to a natural approach to getting well and staying well, and that's all here on our patients page. All right, well, that's it for today. We're gonna close today with an iconic Christmas song, which is as appropriate as it gets for now, given that the Three Kings Day is tomorrow. So thanks, everybody. Blessings to you and yours, and we will see you next week. Be well. Okay, let's play them some Christmas music. Oh, and there's Bentley. One more time, Bentley. Oh, say hi to everybody. Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay. Push. Okay. Oh, that's a good guy. All right. Excellent. Oh. Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. So good to be with you. And enjoy your Epiphany tomorrow, the last day tomorrow of the 12 days of Christmas. And blessings to you and yours. Take care, everybody. And Bentley, Bentley says.